Welcome to the Comics News Wire, where we get our news from the comics newsroom found at comicbookadvocates.com. This show is anchored by Mr. Anderson, who is the unboxable, advocating creator known as the Indie Comics Devil, who will tempt you with his devilish tales of fetish, monsters, and more. Join him and his co-anchors as they give you the comics news coming off the wire. This show is brought to you in association with ComicBookAdvocates.com is the global digital Comic-Con, but it's more than that, and you can be more too. Be more than just a fan. Become an advocate for comics, like ComicBookAdvocates.com is for their creators, for their crowdfunding, for the very books they're creating, because we love comics.
At Geek Insider, we foster relationships with those in the geek sphere so we can give our audience the insider view of entertainment, tech, and more.
Hello, everybody. We are here. I am here with my co-anchor, Demon Phil. Tell them who you are.
What's going on? Demon Phil here from the Demon Nation. I have got the interview shows that I do Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern. I do those on both Facebook and YouTube under Demon Nation. And then, of course, on Saturday evenings, we have Unscripted, which is a way for creative team members to go ahead and jump on there, just unwind after a long week. And that's on YouTube only for obvious reasons. So don't miss out on those shows.
All right. Are you excited to get into some news today?
Oh, absolutely. I got my news hat on and everything. We're good.
I noticed that. I love that. All right. So it's a holiday, actually. So you guys might hear Jax in the background. So we wanted to just take a moment to acknowledge the holiday. And it is, and I'm definitely trying to pronounce this right, Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur?
Yeah, is today's holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So we just want to acknowledge Yom Kippur right now, and I'm calling it up as we speak. How to say it, 'cause you're not supposed to say happy, because I was reading up on it, because for those who don't know, my son is actually heritagely Jewish, like the actual bloodline runs through him, if that's the proper way to say it. So we are, hold on, I promise I'm getting to it. For some reason, every so often a link doesn't work, only when you go live. This is the problem with hiring yourself to run your own rooms. So I'm going to share it with you guys right now. Here it comes. Here it comes. I'm running a little bit behind today because Jax is home today. We're out shopping. So here it is. All right. So you're in the comics news room. This is the wire room for Monday's rundown for the CNW news. And I can't pronounce this, but this is the Hebrew writing of it. But the words to say today are have an easy fast, good Yontif, and a good holiday, or blessed Yom Kippur. So I was told not to say happy, not to say happy. So that's because it's, I guess it's Easter. You're really not supposed to say happy, or Good Friday. You're not supposed to say happy Good Friday, technically.
That I do not know.
Yeah, no, yeah, it was one of the things I was told when I was growing up. You don't say happy Good Friday. You say Happy Easter, because the religious aspects, of course. And we're just trying to acknowledge the audience who is celebrating this holiday. And, of course, I'm here giving you the news, some headlines. We'll let Demon Phil start reading the headlines. Do I have to make it bigger for you?
Yes, please, if you will. Old age and everything.
I got you. Are we big enough? Because I think that's as big as we go.
That's what she said. No, yes, Cat Dad and Supermom is now on Scoot, which is Scout Comics, which I am excited about this one because I've been seeing nothing but posts about this all over the social media. So congratulations to the entire staff involved in this. And it is amazing that we're going to be able to see this on a much larger scale, because this is one of those books that needs to definitely be out there on a larger scale.
And congratulations to Bob Gregory, the writer, Chuck Pino, who's of course the editor, and a lot of credit out there to Raheel. The art definitely has made this a standout product. And of course, it was once distributed through Advocate Comics. It is no longer. It is now left Advocate and has left Terraform Comics, and it's on its own over there in Scoot, starting something new. And I wish them luck, and I also wish that you guys would show up to Sunday Brunch. So we're trying to do this show. We want to know if you guys want us to keep doing it. Sunday Brunch. It's where we dine on comics. So it's just a fun little show. Demon Phil won't be caught dead there. It's 11 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday. There's no way he's even up yet. But we also have some exciting news, and I'll open it up so we can actually read it. This is from Shepard. And again, some of these things just don't open right. So when you see that in our site, when you go to comicbookadvocates.com and click on Monday, just click on the image and it'll take you over to the bigger story. And I'll blow that up for Demon Phil so we can read it. There we go. There you go.
So this is by Andrea Lorenzo Molinari. Sneak peek of the new introduction to the Shepard, Volume 1, due out January, Issue 1, and April nonstop from Scout Comics via their horror imprint, Black Caravan. Artwork is by Luca Pansaroli and colors by Pamela Pagiali. And I apologize if I just butchered those names. I tried.
I think you actually were pretty close because I've heard him say the names. This is a case where I've actually heard it, and I can tell you it sounds right. So it's close. It's not the butchering that I would normally do. So much better than I would do. And of course, remember that all these stories are brought to you by our actual and taken. Some of these are literally taken from our Facebook group, the Comic Book Advocates Network. And here's Raheel sharing his exciting, like you said, it was all around. Raheel, the artist himself, had said, been waiting to share this news for so damn long. Scout Comics has a new IP in the form of our book, Cat Dead and Supermom. Bobby Gregory, Chuck Pino, cheers to you all. It's a great day. And it was definitely some news that was received very, I'm happy to say a very positive feeling for it. People were happy to see it. It definitely made, like you said, I saw it in streams. So people enjoyed the news, and congratulations to the team once again behind that. And now we have too many tabs open. Now I'm doing the tab thing when you have too many tabs. So go ahead and tell us what Anthony Figueroa has to say.
So
sorry, I didn't mean to do that. There you go.
There we go. So this is with God's Hand. So you want to see more, make sure to order your copy of God's Hand only on Indiegogo. Like and share, and there's the link. That is definitely one that you want to go ahead and take a look at. It is in demand right now. I don't know how long exactly it's going to stay on there, so catch it before it's gone, but you do not want to miss out on this title.
Yeah, I don't think it's got much longer, and Pyramid Knight says, that looks great. Good morning. Good morning, Pyramid Knights. Welcome to CNW. And, okay, so this is one I found surprising. This was like the story from last week with Supergirl not being talked about. This wasn't talked about. Baltimore Comic-Con canceled. And I'll be honest, I didn't know for about 5 or 6 days that it had canceled. I had been randomly checking on my own, so I noticed it, and then I meant to cover it on the news because we were already 7 days out from it, so it wasn't like breaking news anymore. Right. So I was like, oh, I'll get it, and I forgot last week, so I went to this weekend, and I suddenly realized no one had talked about it. Did you even know Baltimore had canceled, Demon? Oh, okay. So
they had put a thing out. It's been a couple of weeks back or so, something like that.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks now because I didn't make it for last week's cycle. It was actually, I have not heard one person talk about it on social media. New York Comic Con, I'm still hearing people complain that it's not happening this year.
Right.
And now that the numbers are spiking, people are getting quieter because they're seeing what's happening. And, you know, you got to give them credit. I didn't think I called when MegaCon didn't happen. And that if anyone who ever watched when we got the news, we were live on a program. And I looked like I was going to throw up. And that's because I really was going to throw up. I knew that when MegaCon wasn't going to happen, there was not going to be another big convention. I said that as we went off the air for that program. And sure enough, man, we have not seen anything at all that was positive. And speaking about positive, I did a video here, and this is, if you want to watch it, I thought this was a pretty good video, and I'll call it up real quick for you guys. Just to show you the title. I'm sharing these You're Not Alone moments with you guys because this is so big right now for no reason. Oh, man. For some reason, I think it just went to my profile. It might have been where I clicked. Okay. It's one of those weird things. So here you go. Once again. So I do these videos, and this was talking about hate. and it's talking about how hate is drowning us, and it's just, and you're going to see a theme in this show. You know, it's just gotten too far. Too many people are putting up. Demon Phil knows what I'm talking about, and you have the demon and the devil literally telling you, okay, it's time to slow down and relax. Like when we're the two in the room telling you that your party's getting a little loud, it's getting a little loud. And what the problem is, and we understand this, and we get this, man, this has been a bad year. This is not a good year for anyone. Everyone has suffered. Everyone has lost. We've all lost family members. Well, not all of us, but a lot of us have lost family members. We haven't been able to go to funerals. I get it. This year's been tough, but we can't turn on each other. And we've done that especially in indie comics to the point now where, I'll be honest, Demon Phil, I don't even know what people are fighting about anymore. It's gotten to that point where it's like, why are you guys even fighting?
Yeah, and now more than ever, we need unity within the industry to go ahead and thrive out of this and make it out of here and start off a new year with a whole new purpose.
We got to fix it now, man. We can't even wait for the new year. Right now, we need to make that decision. And I know that there's an election coming, but guys, that's no excuse to us. That's not what elections are supposed to be. Elections are supposed to be us getting together, discussing ideas, picking a leader, not killing each other. Not, and I'm, you know, protest. I'm all for protest. Don't get me wrong. This is not a knock on protesting. This isn't a knock on vile behavior online. That is what I'm talking about. There's a difference between saying, hey, Rob, I think that you need to change this, or together we need to change this, or systemically in our society this has to change. That's a conversation that anyone should be able to sit down and have, as opposed to, hey, go F yourself. Mm-hmm. You're this because you didn't believe what I said, because I spoke and I expect to be taken as a god. We have to find that middle ground. We don't talk to each other. We don't listen to each other.
Right.
So this show is going to be talking a lot about that. We will cover stories in a true fashion. Factual. This is what happened. Occasionally me or Demon Phil, and I should play that bumper, will give our opinions on the story. So we're going to play that opinion. But I do want to stress that the co-anchors on here know that I don't want drama. I want there to be, and that's one thing I always say, and I know Demon Phil gets this because those are part of the rules of his shows. Talk about politics, keep it within a sentence or two. This is a longer one because we've really had a division. Normally, we wouldn't stop this long. And let me take the picture off the screen. That is a horrible picture of me that I've been staring at. But, we want you guys to be not better, but let's get to the point where we want to live on this planet. Because I know so many of us don't even want to be here. It's not that we want to die. It's just we don't want to be on this planet anymore. Scotty, beam me up. Like, it's gotten so vile. Let's take a step back. Let's take a breath. Let's figure out how we can start treating each other just well enough that we could sit at a table together and break bread. I don't need you guys to fall in love with each other. I don't need, and by guys, I mean women too. This is not a gender moment. This is a moment where we all sit down at the table, all genders, all races, all creeds, all religions. We start talking again, because that's what made America great. We're a melting pot. I grew up in Queens. If it's not a melting pot, you're doing America wrong, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And with my opinion being said, let me play that bumper. Warning and disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this live feed are those of the guests, speakers, and or hosts, and do not necessarily reflect the beliefs, official policies, ethics, or positions of the content providers, advertisers, additional hosts, and or guests, hosting sites, groups, or entities attached to this programming. Viewer discretion is advised. Now, this was over the weekend. The Trouble with Love was announced to kick off today. Stay tuned. More on that. But I'm going to pass it over to my co-anchor for this bit of news.
On
blow it up.
Aaron Johnson, let's see. Yeah.
Better?
There we go. The Formula book series. Let's see. Unboxing the Formula Volume 1. Want your copy? We're available in all stores now. Plus, you can get a signed copy from all of us whenever you apply directly at our website, formulacomic.com.
And that looks cool. And we definitely encourage you guys to go to comicbookadvocates.com and go to the Monday section and play that video. It's a great video. Another great thing is the art coming out for Seed Seeker. Martha Schwartz is doing an amazing job. She's definitely leveling up with her artistic skill. It's been a wonderful privilege actually being able to watch her grow. So check out Seed Seekers. That's part of our crowdfunding found at the top of every page at comicbookadvocates.com. Just hit the crowdfunding tab. You're up, Demon.
Dwayne Showtime Robinson, owner, CEO, writer, artist at Animation Comics and Entertainment LLC. Looks like someone is having a bad morning, or is it a dream or an awakening?
It definitely gets you into the, well, what's going on here? And I love pictures like this because this makes you want to see more.
Oh, absolutely.
Speaking of seeing more, here comes a new creator. See more of Lou Cypher. I hope I'm saying that wrong. He's a rap artist. This is from Sebastian Bonnet, who wanted to share this with us. So Sebastian's a great creator, great advocate for creators, so we share anything that he gives us. Over to you, Demon.
The Talon. Kickstarter declares Spectrum 2 to be the project we like. Two Gargoyles Comics is proud to announce that the crowdfunding platform Kickstarter has chosen Spectrum 2 as a project we like on their site, boosting the campaign to a more spotlit position, affording its greater visibility in searches and on the site's Fresh Favorites column and on their homepage. The campaign is at this particular, you get to see the link on there, and is running until October 23rd, 2020. That one looks interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's got a new take on, and I say this all the time. When people complain about the lack of diversity in comics, I complain about their lack of diversity in the areas they're shopping. Because if you go to indie comics, the last thing that anyone can talk about is the lack of diversity. And I've always been very proud that independent creators tackle various topics. And that goes from talking about fetish, talking about farting elephants, talking about voodoo, talking about, like we see here, the spectrum. You know what I'd like to see more about, and we're going to get into this a little bit later, I'd like to see more about autism and stuff like that as well start to rise. We've seen transgender relationships of all types covered in indie comics. Indie comics is where it's at. So if you want diversity, just check in with indie comics. And speaking of checking in, check out our boy JD Calderon, who's got a Kickstarter going on right now. Look at this art he's got, man. This was blowing it out of the water. We'll go over there because he's got some intro. This was some beautiful art. Remember to click the hour stamp and it takes you straight to it. And here he says, I sometimes wonder why it is I keep going on. And it's because of this guy. He's always striving to reach for something beyond himself. How can I say or do any less? And look at that. Amazing art from an amazing creator. JD, well done. Well done, my friend. We're going to switch gears and we're going to go over to Mark Darden, who has a video for us. And of course, it won't play from here. Every so often it'll play from here, just every so often, but I guess not today. So we'll go over to the straight and narrows of it.
Creator of The Guano Guy, and I would like to entice you to get in on reading The Guano Guy by reading to you a piece from Guano Guy number 2 from the previous Kickstarter campaign. In this scene, the Guano Guy is back at his apartment lamenting his lack of media attention while his mirror reflection tries to console him. Yeah, that is literally what's going on. You heard me right. Here we go. If you want recognition for being a hero, you just need to help more people.
I'm not doing this to help people. I'm doing it to build my brand, become a global icon, and create an empire of endorsement deals. Otherwise, what's the point?
Oh, how I love it. Guano Guy argues with his mirror reflection. What is that mirror reflection? A real, independent entity? Or just a sad fragment of the Guano Guy's lonely imagination? You know I'm real.
Of course I do. We talk all the time.
I wasn't saying that to you.
Yes, you were. Who else is there to say it to?
The narrator.
The who?
The disembodied voice that whispers stories.
This apartment has ghosts. That explains the cheap rent.
And that was a reading from Guano Guy number 2, merely a page and a half. Now, this book has 40 pages in total, and it's a monster of a book. The current one has 29 pages. The one before that had 40 pages. And if you include all 7 issues that we've done so far, because we did these short story issues with odd numbering, we're rounding around to 190 pages. So please do yourself a favor, get in now, because I'm just going to keep making more. And the longer you wait to start reading the Guano Guide, the more you're going to have to read to catch up. So really, just get in now, please, please, help me. Thank you for checking out the Guano Guy. I really, really do appreciate it.
So apparently he's leveled up Mark Darden in a big way with the videos he's making. Kudos to him. Love the energy and love the Guano Guy brand itself. I have the book here. Not lying. I'm actually a fan. Look at that. Look at those awesome books, man. You got to get yourself a copy of Guano Guy. It's on Kickstarter right now. You can find it over our partition section for the crowdfunding at the top of every comicbookadvocate.com page. All right, we're going to head back into our news right now. And Demon Phil, talk to us about what Russ Leach is cooking.
Only Death Can Save Us, Doctor Who and classic comic books fan. Check out Only Death Can Save Us, Doctor Who swag bundle. Page at A3 Prints, co-signed by the magnificent Andrew Cartmel himself. Only 6 left. And that's on Indiegogo.
And I mean, just an amazing career he's had. And speaking about amazing, Joe D. McPhee is celebrating a 10th anniversary edition. That's right. Joe is back. He's 6 backers away from reaching their first stretch goal for Amazonian #1, the 10th anniversary edition. Join the 19 backers who have supported the super-powered Amazon Cop and make the uniform look good. Oh, the cop that makes the uniform look good. So check it out now. He's the president of the Exency, there we go, Studios. I've heard him say it. That's why I was trying to get it out right. And this is pretty cool. 10 years, man. Him and Victor Dandridge. You got to take your hat off. 10 years is a long time. And another shameless ad for Sunday Brunch. Probably. Oh, I see. The thing did that cute trick where it doubles things up. Yep. So that was the weekend's headline. So we're going to head over into Monday. So that's just catching up for the weekend, guys. We had a lot of news today. So this is just this weekend. This is an initiative I'm going to launch. Do you want to read this to them and I'll explain?
Sure. I want to do a special series on creators dealing with autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dysgraphia, and Asperger's, as I am one of them.
All right. So first off, hi, Meredith. And that was fun. Yeah, it was. The Mark did well with that. So here's the deal. A lot of people don't know this. My son, well, I think even Demon Phil, my son's on the autistic spectrum. We're waiting for the official diagnosis of where he's going to land. But it seems like ADHD and autism is going to be his diagnosis. We're just finalizing it probably in the next couple weeks. When I was a kid, I'm a little older than Demon Phil, I think. So when I was a kid, they didn't really have, I was one of the first kids on Ritalin. I'm in a medical textbook because of it. I was the troubled kid who walked around and all they did was slap me with ADHD. And they really didn't give me a lot of tools back then. The only tools they gave you back then was medicine and a lot of yelling. And I don't want to get into it majorly, but there were a lot of things said to me growing up that have affected my self-esteem even as an adult, and I never realized it. About 2 years ago, my son was going through all this diagnosis stuff. I started to look deeper into it, and some people had suggested that I had Asperger's. Because and they found out I had autism when, not autism, I'm sorry. I found out I had dyslexia when they tried to convince me I was a retard. Their word, not mine. This is my history. They used the word retard. Imagine being told that when you're a kid. Screws you up. So they made me take an IQ test. Turned out I was just very dyslexic. Imagine missing that in school. Like right now, we'd want to fire a teacher, but that's the education system that I was brought up in. Not one teacher had noticed that. They just called me stupid. And I'm not kidding. I was literally called stupid by many teachers. And I had behavioral problems because of the ADHD. But it also turned out, and I didn't know this until I was older, my son was doing all this. Some people had said I might have Asperger's. You don't want to hear that you're defective. And I know that sounds horrible now, but that's how I felt. I was raised to be, Irish. We don't talk about our pain. I broke my kneecap, and I literally never went to the doctor. It fused onto another bone, and a doctor saw it and was like, when did you break your knee and who reset it? I'm like, I never broke my knee. He's like, oh no, you broke your knee. And I knew what he was talking about, but I went home and my Irish dad told me to shut up. It wasn't broken or I couldn't walk on it. And I spent the whole summer limping and learning to bend my knee and not caring about it. I'm lucky it wasn't worse, or because it turns out I can absorb a lot of pain. So that's the childhood I grew up in, not understanding who I was. So I didn't want anything else to be wrong with me. When someone said that to me, it was an insult. I don't want anything to do with it. It took me having a son and realizing there was something that was different about my son to realize there was nothing wrong with him. He was just going to have things he had to overcome. So this is a powerful moment for me. It even made me realize and finally look at Asperger's and realize that, yeah, I have it. I've taken all the online tests. I never score below what, like their whole thing is I should go I get to take your kid to a doctor now so they can learn the coping tools. And I'm like, I'm 40. This is an old dog. But believe it or not, by having that information and researching it, because I wanted to also be there for my son. What if I pass these things on? And what if I can understand them? By reading it, I realized that people could be manipulating me, and I haven't even realized it my whole life. Because there's things about my temper I didn't understand. There are things like there's certain social things I just don't understand. And people have always said I'm the type of person, when you mess with me, I just go nuclear. I am that person. And I thought it was the New York attitude. Well, it's just I'm from New York, and I wrote it off. But it turns out that mix those two, ADHD and Asperger's, and it can be a very rageful response. But it also made me realize I wasn't some monster. I didn't understand it because no one helped me to cope with it. So I've implemented coping tools. I deal with things a lot differently now. I don't let things fester. And I literally ask him, this is going to sound demeaning, but remember, it's to me and it's how it makes sense to me. If Demon Phil were to come up to me and go, hey, Rob, that seemed mean, I would look at him and be like, well, I don't see it that way. And I'll explain how I feel. And then I'll be like, but can you explain your side, as if I'm a child? Mm-hmm. And I know it sounds demeaning, right? I'm asking Phil to talk down to me. Not really. Because there's something about when you talk to a child that we don't do as adults. We don't explain ourselves to adults. We just turn around and look at an adult. Well, you were mean. No, I really don't. Like, part of what's wrong with me is I don't know. I don't get it. I just fired back. Someone attacked me, and I had a response. I grew up with that. I was taught that. We fire back. But when you say, you're an asshole, I suddenly look up on your profile, find out things about you, and look at you and talk about something that I know about you that I've picked up in your profile reading your stuff. And it's more than likely a sensitive point because I realized it, and I don't realize that that's socially not okay. Mm-hmm. Like, you're not supposed to take it that far. You're not supposed to read someone and be able to read between the lines and be able to go, well, I noticed that you're divorced and you also have a drinking habit. Maybe that's what led to your divorce. And people are like, you can't say that, Rob. And I'm like, but why? They just called me an asshole. They want to fight. So it's things like that I didn't know on my own. And talking to other people and having talked about it, Phil, it's been able to teach me so much. So I want to start something, and I want to talk about this because there are a lot of creators who struggle with different things. And Aaron Marshall even says that his son was diagnosed with autism at age 4. We found out he has Asperexia. Thank you. And dyspraxia, not autism, but it's a long road. It really is. And like you said, at 4, they wouldn't diagnose Jax at 4. The doc I have doesn't want to do anything until we can really, no rubber stamp in here. This is going to be a diagnosis. And what's holding it up right now is because of 2020. They need a genetic test, and I haven't wanted to take him where they draw blood for obvious reasons. Like, hey, this can wait. Like, the diagnosis so far, no one has said we need diagnosis to help him. The state of Florida has been wonderful with my son, has been very supportive of my son, and has done amazing things. So it hasn't been a big deal. And he said, I'm so glad you are sharing this affects so many people. And it's true. And it affected my generation. We were just called idiots. How many kids did we know growing up that weren't idiots or weren't bad kids? They just weren't getting the tools they needed to be successful because society says you have to act this way, and they're just not wired to live within that box. So that's why the unboxable has always been so important to me, because I just don't fit into your boxes. Even the way I speak, sometimes I have to remember I'm going too fast. I have to literally slow it down, especially being from New York, and New York's like ba 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 ba. And you know, when you have ADHD, you're like, oh, I love this speed. It's funny. I listen to books on tape, and my nephew will be like, "What are you listening to?" And I'm like, "A book." He's like, "You understand that?" I'm like, "Yeah, you don't." And he sits there and he tries to listen to it, and he's like, "I can't keep up with it." And I'm at like 2.5, 3. And I'm like, "What do you mean they're talking about?" And I'm like, oh, "Now I can't follow it because I'm talking to you, and I have to pause it." And I'm like, "This is what they just said." And he's like, "Nope, not even a little." Same with my son. Beautiful words, man. Thank you. This is all great info, and that's what it's going to be about. And we have a group, but it's going to be a private group intended only for the members to see what's being talked about. I want it dealt with in a way where everyone feels like no one's going to be stupid and say things. We're going to vet the people who join. I might be asking them some questions. Hey, why are you here? Like, realistically, what do you expect to get from this group? And if you can't fill out a form, I don't want anything to do with you. But it is amazing. I'll say this, Demon Phil. I never realized how easily provoked's the wrong word, but as much as people could get my goat without me realizing it. Because I always thought that I was smarter than them. I hadn't realized that even the reactions I was having was me actually playing into their game. So now I've learned to step back a little. If anyone's noticed the over the last year, the change in the demeanor, it has a lot to do with me reading up on researching and how to handle things and understanding and actually stopping and asking people, hey, this guy just did this. Should I ruin his life? And I know that sounds funny, but I don't mean to ruin the life. That's the joke part, the sarcasm. But it is when you have that Asperger's thing, you don't understand that. You don't understand social graces. You understand someone messed with you, and now it's okay to go back at them. And I had to kind of learn, I don't know where that line is. I don't understand where the lines are. It's just not wired into me to understand that. So it's always better to stop and go, hey, I have this problem. And I'll do it a lot with the people I trust. And I don't think I'll get in trouble for saying this, but Chuck's one of my sounding boards. Mm-hmm. I've always been able to go to Chuck and ask him, and he's been able to do really well, not just with my dyslexia, but giving me a, hey, yeah, Rob, you don't want to do that. That's not how you handle this. Put the kerosene down. Don't burn down his house.
So because the angel on your shoulder.
No, Chuck is not the angel. He's the guy in between who talks to the devil and the angel. That's why he gets the best advice. All right, so moving on, we have, of course, you guys can vote for this week's #1 crowdfunder. And on Wednesday, when we start backer pause, that's how the show starts. Soft open like Saturday Night Live. Did Saturday Night Live come back this weekend? Or is that next weekend? I miss it. I just want to see them make fun of people.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, I got to look that up. I just realized now, like, ooh, Saturday Night Live is close to being back. It's not all right, that. Meredith says Asperger's is tough because to date there isn't a true diagnosis. Why? Because each person is different. We got superpowers in some places and super ignorance in others. And I do agree with that. There's a lot, and I said this somewhere, I forgot where, but when I think it was in the chat, I had written, there are things I can do that other people just can't do. Like I have something called hyperfocus that no one understands unless you have ADHD. I can focus on a task until completion in a way that other people can't. I can rip things apart in my mind. I get things quicker than other people. It just so happens socially I'm awkward. And I even find that I do better when I'm in even a romantic relationship to start off going, hey, look, you know, there's nothing wrong with me, but I do have trouble with some social things. Like I don't understand hypocrisy. When you're being a hypocrite, that's something, and I've talked to people about this. I don't understand it. If you say one thing and do the opposite, I need it explained to me because hypocrisy makes no sense to me. And people have said, dude, it's just their ego. They don't, it's just that they won't do it. Because I've had been on the other side of things and done the right thing based on my opinions, or I've grown as a person and changed my opinions. And that's okay. It's okay to grow. This journey in life is supposed to be about growth, guys. You're not supposed to come out of the box. That's why I hate this whole, oh, well, 3 years ago, this person said this. What did they say last week? Who are they last week? Because that's what I'm more interested in. You know, do you really think they're hiding it that well? Do you think that they're really not that person? Those are the conversations we have to have. But back to the crowdfunding, because I got all drawn off by that Saturday Night Live triggered me. That's the ADHD. So this is crowdfunding. So what are you voting for, Demon Phil?
I actually voted for a few of them in there, but of course I had to put Elysian Fields in there because I'm the marketing director for Nine Realms Publishing, so I got to go with my brand on that one. But XCT actually has a lot of my attention right now as well. That looks like an amazing setup on there.
And I don't know why it's only showing Guano Guy, because I know you see my image is right there with XCT.
Exactly.
So there's no way I haven't voted. I voted for every one of them. So I don't know why Guano Guy. I didn't do that on purpose. Let's put it that way. That is not on purpose for some reason. Guano Guy's the only one that's checked. Great crowdfunding right now. You should check it out and vote. And right now, XCT is the winner right now. But we have till Wednesday, plenty of time to vote, and it's here for you guys to vote. So, we can ignore this. I wanted to just quick note, this is no longer on demand. That's why it's here. I wanted to tell everyone that we've pulled Cat Dad and Supermom off of on demand. I have some extra issues from it being from Advocate Comics. I don't believe there's any Terraform versions that exist. It never got to print. Because of 2020, it never got to be printed. But, so you know, few copies left, no longer available in digital. We will be, you know, it's with Scoot now, so they're in charge of that. And, you know, you have to reach out to Bobby Gregory. I can sell the last of my books. So, you know, I think they're collector's items now. So expect them $100 a piece. $100 for each one. Pain and Gain. So do you know what Pain and Gain is, Demon Phil?
As far as
The term. Just the term in general from the gym. Pain and Gain.
To a degree, somewhat, but not very familiar, no.
Okay, so the basic idea is that your muscles gain when they're in pain, when they tear, when they rip. They get bigger, they get stronger. And I equate creating very often to the pain and gain system and what you have to give up. If you want to know more, click this link. It's actually, I had someone reach out to me and they're like, I never looked at creating that way. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That really changed my perspective. And that's why I do some of these videos and I share them. We do You're Not Alone every day. You don't get all of them here. But when I think that I actually had a moment of intelligence, I do like to share it here. Most of it's just me in the background talking about something that happened in my day that I thought was funny, like a squirrel. Ooh, squirrel. So you're up, Demon Phil.
Mark Darden's here with the Guano Guy. Do you have $1 for the Guano Guy? I had to go into the voice, sorry.
Yeah.
Are you doing all you can to help the Guano Guy campaign? So he's asking you to go ahead and just give $1. If each person will give $1 on here, then he will get funded on this thing. Would be great if we have enough people doing that. So you don't even actually go on there and spend a lot of money, just $1 per person to just go ahead and support to help out as best you can.
And
if you have $1, support it by sharing it out.
And I hear that Guano Guy himself heard campaign, and he's now debating running for president because he heard the word campaign. He's like, I can be part of that campaign. I know they've told Guano Guy, no, you can't be president, but why would that stop Guano Guy? Nothing stops Guano Guy. And speaking of not being stopped, this is a very important message. All of us have to realize this. All of us have to understand this. And I equated this yesterday. Look at human beings as flavors. As someone from the fetish community, I don't like vanilla people in a romantic relationship. I need someone with a different flavor. That flavor is what I need in a relationship. But I have friends who are vanilla. Understand that we're all just flavors of ice cream. And if you don't like a flavor, you don't have to throw it on the ground and pee on it. You don't have to talk crap about it. Just because you don't like, butter pecan doesn't mean you have to call butter pecan a racist against, strawberry. Oh, I heard butter pecan hates strawberry. Let's cancel butter pecan. That's got to stop. We rise together in this industry. If you're a creator, if you're a fan, and you want comics to do better, support comics. Throw $1 down. Put your money where your mouth is. We rise together, support each other. If you don't like someone, ignore them, but allow them the room, just like you should be allowed the room. The fans are the ones who make the determination of what gets made and what continues to be made. We rise together, and that also means we fall together. Every creator who falls, not to say that there aren't bad creators. Demon Phil knows there's bad creators. And every so often, we might have to stop and acknowledge bad behavior that is hurting an industry. But if it's not hurting the industry, leave it alone. Mm-hmm. It's not something you should be reporting on. If people are out there trying to declare problems and trying to declare fights amongst themselves, let them fight it out. Don't be part of it. Jack seems to like that idea. He heard fight and comes in with 2 fists. Like, look, he's beating me up, Demon Phil. He's beating me up. All right, but yes, we rise together, and we need to also support each other, at least in the very minimum, to give each other the room to have our own shows, our own opinions, and our own ability to tell the world what's going on. What do you think, Demon Phil?
I have brought up on every one of my shows the same thing that, one pebble in a pond, you get a ripple. If you get enough, pebbles and rocks thrown into a pond, you get the waves of change. What that basically means is one person can make a difference. I mean, I don't want to sound so cliche on that, but it does make sense, because if you get one person out there, attitude is infectious. If you've got positive attitude out there, it is very infectious. If you got negative, it is very infectious. So be careful the attitude that you're putting out there, because those that are around you will catch on to that as well. We need more of that positive attitude out there.
Amen. Absolutely true. And we're going to be switching gears in just a few minutes to our main news. But before we do that, JD, the Oswald Chronicles, is on Indiegogo for you guys to get. And we have this virtual yard sale from Michael Watson. He's doing some cool stuff. Check out what he did. It is worth the time. And here it is. Do you have your copy yet, Demon Phil?
I do not yet, no.
Oh my God, dude, I wrote this. I'm a writer. I'm very proud of my writing. I have done things that you've been in the room where you've heard people talk about the writer I am. And the reason I'm flexing for once is not an ego moment. Because Victor Dandridge is someone that is so much better of a writer than me. It's not even jealousy. You're in awe. He is that good of a writer. The way he can pluck on your heart strings. Anything he writes, there's just a dynamic force to it. And it's creative style. Amazing, amazing stuff. And you see, I shared it. Other people have already shared it. And it's just awesome. We even have a video of him, the excitement he has when talking about it. That alone will sell me every time. So we have John Crowther. Check it out. Demon, you're up.
I mean, this gets me into my macho man voice here. And just want to go, oh, yeah, exciting announcement today. No, sorry. Exciting announcement yesterday from Squared Circle Comics, the publisher of my professional wrestling titles, Squared Circle Yearbox subscription. Join up on Patreon for exclusive content and a guaranteed copy of every wrestling comic we produce for 12 months. Bonus, the next 13 subscribers receive Rock and Roll Express #1, signed by both Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson.
All right. And here's actually the link, because I wanted to make sure it was on our site. I made sure, because they said it was in the comments. I didn't know if anyone knew to click down here. It would take them there. So just in case. And check this out from Chuck Pino. This is the Belial new cover, and that's my favorite character of 2019. My standout character of 2019 right there. That is Link. He's amazing. Love this cover. This is going to be awesome. And, of course, this is actually playfully mocking all the sexy covers.
And that is Chris Mad, correct?
Oh, man, that's my boy Chris Mad. His art's just on fire.
Yes.
There is no one who's as good an artist right now as Chris Mad is in the indie comics sphere. He deserves a call up to Marvel and DC yesterday. And I'm being biased here, but I love his artwork. I've had it in my books. I've shared everything he's done. He just blows me away. He made a piece of art. I sent him a story based on it. He's like, "What's this?" I was like, "I don't know. I saw your art and I wrote you a story." That's the type of artist he is.
Exactly.
Okay, so we have some creative news. Let's see what we didn't cover right here. But before we go over to that site, let's just finish up with the rest of this. This was just me on a positive message. Definitely check that out. And it was about this. I am sick of all the hate. Can't we find a way to see each other and hear each other and make the future bright for those who come next? And if you want to see a bright future, click on this link right here, because Victor Dandridge is part of that bright future. So let's talk about quick creative news, because we are running out of time. We haven't even gotten to the mainstream news yet. But I like that. A good, strong start with the indie stuff. So we have Guano Guy. We've talked about that. Ooh, you want to talk about this real quick?
So Michael Oden's got on here 25 days left to go, and we've already passed our funding goal of 2,000. Yes. The Abyssal Tournament of Champions has begun in Elysian Fields, Pyramid Gambit. Be sure to check out our Support Our Troops tier, and he is not kidding about that. Real quick on Support Our Troops tier, Justin Hunt put a print in there that he has got inside of there, And if you go ahead and get this within this first 30 days, Justin Hunt will not only sign it, but they will be serial numbered. So they're going to be very limited print and serial numbered and signed by the artist. Do not miss out on that.
And Rodney Laquette says they're 75% of this week and half left. Definitely appreciate checking out the support. This is AWS All Winter Society. And JD Calderon has something to share.
The Oswald Chronicles is back on Indiegogo with Fallen Gods, where we see Oswald battle crazed gods and evil sorcerers. And there's a link there.
And Sam Johnson's Geek Girl returns in tights and capes. And Shane Morrison only has 2 days left. You want to read that for him? Oh, well, it's only 2 days left. I thought there was more. You read the Jason thing. Only 2 days left till it's over and unlock the stretch goals. So go ahead, read Jason's thing.
Jason Meadows says, Tales from Nerosville in demand on Indiegogo. 3 issues of superhero fun, over 80 pages, only $12 delivered USA.
And Chuck announces that Scout has a new set of superheroes on their hands. It has been announced that the Cat Dad and Supermom has been picked up by their imprint Scoot and will be published through them in 2021. Creators Bobby Gregory, Rahil Mosid, and Chuck himself would like to thank the team at Scout, and they are excited to be part of the lineup. And this is just something from Seed Seekers, just a link to it, I mean. And do you want to read Holden's comment?
Holden McCourt says, The sound of a bell struck 3 times. The Hunchback of Theological Quadrant 19.
Now, I'm guessing that's a Kickstarter, so what we're going to do is invite them to be part of it. Okay. So every time what we do is we just drop in our little things here. And if you want to go ahead and read that next one, not that. That was just what I put in there. You can go ahead and, we actually covered this last week. So this is just something, if go watch Friday's show, we already mentioned this on Friday's show. This is a whole bunch of great information about the COMiX Creator Central. This I know you know about, so why don't you talk about that?
Vera Sam, our first Kickstarter launched last night for Catch of the Crazies, and there's the link for it there.
And that looks pretty cool. And Ted Lodi has Vampire Nations from Outer Space Trade Back Edition.
Yes.
So we'll just put a link in there for them. And we'll see if they want to be part of it. XCT is now on Kickstarter, and he is going to be on our show in Backer Paws. And he's actually going to be co-hosting the news this Thursday. How cool is that?
And he's also going to be on my show tomorrow night.
Making the rounds, so check that out. You want to read William Burns' information?
Give me my copy of Max Burger PI and Nobody Gets Hurt. Only available on Indiegogo. The only thing you need to do is sign up for the email list, and you'll receive a free foil card whenever you back the campaign. Smash that link. Nice.
Yep, and we're getting a lot more Kickstarter. It just keeps coming, dude. After a time when I said there weren't a lot of Kickstarters, it's like I summoned them. I'm like, where are all the Kickstarters? They were like, we hear you, Rob, and we're coming. So here we go. Ross, how would you say that name? You got it. Is it Roscoe?
Yeah.
Okay. With less than 3 weeks left on his campaign, can we get help reaching the goal? He has election year. I will look at that later. Anything that says election makes me a little nervous. But you want to read Christopher's thing while I give him a link?
Last of the Reapers is in its last days, and it doesn't look like it's going to get funded. If you like countdowns to fund it or not, peek in at this link here. It ends October 3rd, and we're barely halfway there. I'm going to go ahead and say just real quick, don't ever say that it doesn't look like it's going to get funded. Go ahead and say, give the challenge out there. Go ahead and say, I challenge you to fund this for me. I challenge you to help out. I challenge you to do your support of some kind. There needs to be something positive in there. So go take a look at this, because I'm actually going to take a look and see what he's got going on here and see if we can't get that thing funded as well.
Absolutely true. We went into one of the advocators' last days needing $1,000, and by the end of the day, we were funded. Exactly. Never give up. Remember, on day 1, some people make $2,000. So there's no reason that on day 30 you can't make 2 as well. So this is Russ Leach, Doctor Who, and classic comic book fans. Check out the Only Deaths and Save Us Doctor Who swag bundle. It's a print arts and co-signed by the magnificent Andrew Cartmel himself. Only 5 are left. If you're a Doctor Who fan, that's something you need to get. And you could read these next 2, actually.
Jeff Brennan, I'm a little over $50 away from funding with 5 days to go on Cybergirl Lita, issue 7, Hell Hath No Fury. Love the title.
Good title.
And Kevin Parent Rodatelli. We'll go with that.
Rodatelli, good call. Good call. That's exactly it.
Right now in the previews catalog with Freak Snow.
Let me see if I can't. For some reason, it's the fact that we actually blew up the page that made it do that. There you go.
Let's see. Freak Snow, washed in the blood, Margot's faith, freaks and sci-fi into a gritty world where the art assaults the senses and the story momentum pushes you from behind a breakneck speed. Gary Watson, reviewer at COMiX Anonymous.
And that's available at Previews Catalog Order Code October 201253. And also available for order signed and numbered edition with October 201254. Rumble Kings is back on Kickstarter. So this is, sorry, give me 1 second. I'm putting in the link. For some reason, my links aren't where. There we go. Rumble Kings #3 is live on Kickstarter this Thursday. All physical rewards for people who pledge in the first 24 hours. So keep this on your radar. You're going to get more if you back immediately. And Henri says, this Friday I will have a huge announcement. And we'll put on Come On the Show then.
Yep.
And this is it. Monday news out for Andy. We're going to head over to our mainstream. Now we're going to have to go into a little bit of a quicker pace. I did tell Demon Phil before he got in, I was like, we got a lot of news. This was a big weekend with news. A lot of people celebrating a lot of exciting creative stuff. We're heading into what would have been New York Comic Con week. So this is where a lot of people would be announcing a lot of stuff going on. So before we go, here's the Victor Dangerous video I promised you. Oh, my. Look at that excitement. He's got his beautiful little kid with him. This is amazing. If you want to see a passionate creator, this is where you need to stop. And Scoot Comics, coming in 2021 from Scoot, the all ages imprint of Scout Comics. Wild Bill and Chipper and all fun and human creators, Richard Rivera and Dwayne Bixby, could pack into this loving tribute to the more innocent age of heroes. 2 comic nerds become the first real costume heroes in this world, and one of them even has the ability to give others superpowers. The only one big problem is he hasn't always been the best judge of characters, and he's made some big mistakes. So Chipper recruits the most heroic kid he remembers from way back in middle school over 20 years ago to let Chipper stop the villains he accidentally created. Major Granny, the amazing Mesmer, Pete, and Repeat. And the others are also there to lend a hand. Enjoy this amazing artwork by Dwayne Bixby. And this looks cool. I saw this and I was like, yes. I've seen some of the adventures, but this looks so cool. I'm happy to see that. And then once again, we rise together. And it repeated it. My own site repeated it because it thinks you all need to know that. Make sure you check out crowdfunding today. Let's go to the mainstream Market Watch, brought to us by Indie Volt, now on Google Play and Roku. We have 8 minutes. Think we can do it? Oh, wow. That was here. Actually, that's all we have for some reason. Something clearly went wrong on this. So, but it's okay. We actually can go to the Comics Newswire. Just in case of these problems, we have our feed, which can fix everything. Go ahead and read this one off.
Samuel Jackson to star in Marvel's Nick Fury series. Samuel Jackson is finally set in his own Disney Plus series as Marvel's Nick Fury. That is great to actually see a series about that so we can get the backstory on him.
Yep, and we're just going to quickly head on down to this is why I also use Twitter, just in case, since we move to blocks every so often, funny things like that happen where stories just disappear. So to avoid that, I made sure that we had backup, and here's that backup now. So here we are, Samuel L. Jackson. We had Monday's Countdown, which you guys are watching now. Comic fans, where do their loyalties lie? That's an interesting question now, isn't it?
It's a very loaded question, yes.
And you're going to have to read that article to see where they think comics lie. I personally think that it's complicated, but I hope to see there being less division, if that makes sense. If that's what you take out of the program today, I hope you take that. All right, so this really pissed me off. So BBC a few weeks ago put out why we no longer need superheroes. I've got some great news. The only reason I shared this was to tell you that the New York Times has said kids need superheroes now more than ever. And I really do think even creators need to remember the superheroes that they fell in love with and them doing the right thing over the easy thing. I think so many creators write superheroes and forget that they should act like superheroes and behave better. Any thoughts on that before we move on?
Well, I mean, it's if you're going to put a superhero out there, it's got to have some kind of a message to it. It can't just be a blanket hero, especially if it's not going to have the correct morals and everything that are on there. Now, I'm not saying there are morals that are better than any others, but there are core values that are needed more than ever in this world. You're muted.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know why it did. Oh, because I was about to sneeze, so I cleared my nose. Hulk and X-Men destroyed the ability to die in their particular comics, but guess what? They're bringing it back. So it turns out not every X-Men's immortal. There's not always a way to bring it back, and someone just closed the door on Hulk's immortality. Check out GamesRadar.com for more. Okay, so these were some comments made by this. You guys have heard about this, right? Does Jerry Conway have the right to change the comics?
Yes.
The basic thing was that he said that they need to change the way that they do this. I put in the quotes here. We don't have a lot of time for this. I suggest going to 411 Mania. The breakdown is this. He didn't say cancel comics. He said stop doing the comics that are geared towards adults as floppies. Turn them into graphic novels. Give them to that market and bring back, like they did in the 70s, comics geared towards a younger generation. It's something we've said. I know Demon Phil has said that on these shows as well. So nothing surprising there. Also, Batman's got a lot of great stuff coming out in the next month. Stay tuned to that. And exciting news, J.J. Abrams is actually working on a Justice League Dark. Isn't that exciting, Demon Phil?
As long as they really need a win out of this, especially with what's all is happening with DC. So if they need to go back to the basics on that, and going dark would be a great way to do that. So I think that'd be a great idea for them to do that.
And Batwoman. First look at Javicia Leslie in her bat suit. So if you want to take a first look, there you go. And Transformers War for Cybertron, the second part, the Earthrise trailer is here. Oh, Demon Phil, you got to check it out if you're a Transformer fan.
Yes.
And there is The Trouble with Love. We actually got through that pretty quick. I guess there was more indie news than there was actual other news. But that's okay, because we're at the end of the show, believe it or not. We have gotten here, and we're going to give Demon Phil just a couple minutes to advocate for himself. So take it away, Demon Phil.
Well, like I said, I've got shows that I do throughout the week, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 p.m. Eastern. As of tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, I do have Sean Keenan on the show from XCT. So we're going to be discussing his current project and going over that. On the 1st, which is on Thursday, I have David Fott and Mel Heflin, and we are ringing in the spooky season. So starting October 1st, it's going to be nothing but horror-based comic series interviews that are going to be going on, and I'm starting October 1st with that, with them talking about their werewolf book that's based in the aquatics. Yes, you heard me correctly, and I cannot wait to delve into that one because I'm actually interested in seeing how that's going to go. So that's what's happening on that end. Don't forget, Dark Enterprises is also available. So if you do have needs out there for your crowdfunding where you need marketing or management on that, reach out to me. Let me know. Me and Lisa Malone would be more than happy to go ahead and help you out with that in any way we possibly can. We've got different tiers available to go ahead and make sure you get the most exposure on what you're getting done.
All right, guys, I thank Demon Phil for being the co-anchor today, and you should get used to seeing him on Mondays. He will be my co-anchor on Mondays. We want everyone to have the ability to be part of this show, and there's nothing wrong with me taking a couple days off and not doing the show every day. I'd produce it from behind the grounds, but if you want to be part of this, which is now a movement, this CNW is meant to show the positive side of comics, but also, if you notice, it shows mainstream. It shows today we were packed to the gills with indie comic news. This is about the love of comics. That's one thing Demon Phil, when he said about, I'll co-anchor, I love the fact that this is about comics. That's it. That's why this right now is my focus, making the CNW matter, making it something that people go, well, I want my news on that program. I tune in to find out my news on that program, because this is a program where we all rise together. Any thoughts on it real quick before we go, Demon?
Hey, the last thought that I've got on here is what you said earlier, is we need to rise together on this one and get out of this funk that we're in. So go do something positive today. Just don't even focus on the negative. Do something positive. It could be something small as telling Rob that his beard looks great today. So that's something positive right there. Going ahead and going to Meredith and saying, for a Gigantus, you really fill those shoes well. there are certain things positive that you can do on here. Just go tell somebody and get that positivity out there. That's the main thing.
All right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow at news at 11, and I'll be joined by Mike Lode.